Hi, I'm Garth Ennis. I'm here to talk to Forbidden Planet TV about battle action.
Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. And I recently, when I was meeting with Garth, whose guestship I've just given away, I was stretching my play school analogy, but let's do it one more time. Let's go through the round window and see if Garth Ennis is there. Yes, he is. How are you,
Lo
mate?
and behold, you could have gone over to Tony Hart and said I was in the gallery, I suppose.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're sorry we can't return your pictures to you, but we just don't care.
Yeah, here's more. He
There's,
doesn't care either.
there's more pictures we've stolen. Should have been
Yeah,
the square window as well, I think. I think I've over-egged the round window on these interviews, but hey ho. How are you, mate?
I'm pretty good. I'm just doing a bit of potato printing.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Very good. Yeah, very good. And correct me if I'm wrong, because we're going to get into some World War II stuff. Didn't Tony Hart serve, as I recall?
I believe he was in the British Army in the war.
Yeah,
Uh, Something of a marksman, I believe. I
amazing.
did once hear that when Judge Dredd letterer Tom Frame, the classic Judge Dredd letterer, was a young man doing his national service, I suppose in the 50s,
Yeah.
Tony Hart was his rifle instructor.
Wow, amazing.
And taught him to shoot with a Bentley Enfield rifle. I suppose at that stage they were using all sorts of old crap.
Yeah.
But Tom said he turned him into a pretty decent marksman.
Well, that is a great deep cut. I kind of love everything about that. I love the Tom frame of it, and I love the Tony Hart of it. Kind of makes sense that with Tony Hart's facility for fine detail, that he would be a great marksman.
Yes, yes, more than that, perhaps we dare not say.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Look, man-slaughtering maniac Tony Hart. I mean, atones for years of slaughter by painting nice pictures.
Yes,
Um, but an amazing talent as well. I mean, no longer with us, right, mate?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's long gone.
yeah.
Well, what an amazing reverie and a good way of let's talk about let's not segue directly into battle. Let's just talk about something you and I were chatting about off camera, which is
Mm,
your the DC's latest iteration of Preacher. Absolute Preacher is now up to volume 3, mate.
right. That's right, which would collect, I suppose, what the last 20 issues and
Yeah,
maybe a special or two,
yeah, right on,
something like
right on.
that. Yeah. I mean, great to see it still in print
Yeah,
after so long, after, oh God, 30 years. I was just reminiscing with someone the other day about going to visit Steve in Luton right after he'd moved back from Dublin, um, when his youngest son Jamie was born, and he showed me some of the pages from Preacher issue one. Now that's the summer of '94, which tells you everything.
yeah. I mean, I would say just before we jump off this topic, because I know you've spent vast amounts of conversation in forums like this
Mm.
talking about Preacher, but I mean, it must feel so good to you that it's still part of the comic book zeitgeist to the point that it is. And DC have found many different ways to keep it alive, and there's an audience for those different editions over the last 30 years. That's got to be feel pretty good.
It's great. I mean, I never mind talking about Preacher. I just sometimes worry that I'm going to start making things up. You know, like sometimes people can take advantage of hindsight a little bit. I think you've heard it yourself. I suppose what I was trying to do was,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, really? Because you didn't say that at the time.
Right. Oh,
But no, when it comes to Preacher, I'm delighted that it's still in print. I'm still terribly fond of it, still proud of it. And it's a reminder of a time when Steve and I were essentially making our names together in
yeah.
American comics and really, I suppose, securing our careers together. Um, at that stage, he'd probably been drawing about 5, maybe even 10 years longer than I'd been writing. But we were both at the time pretty much strangers to the American market. Hellblazer had gone over well,
Yeah.
our work on that. But I wouldn't go so far as to call Hellblazer a niche publication, but it hadn't broken through in the way that Preacher would to a wide audience. And I think that's what I mean when I say securing our careers. It got us
Yeah.
where we're going, and we never looked back. Now, the fact that Steve's no longer with us means that that memory's tinged with sadness.
Yes, of
But
course.
I can tell you that creatively, socially, in every way, it was an incredibly enjoyable time, and one that Preacher makes a fine reminder of.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Phenomenal confluence of a writer and artist, which I know that you both felt. I mean, I'm just as big a fan of your Preacher run, but sorry, of your Punisher run, but Punisher
Mm.
is what he is. Preacher is whole cloth out of your brain. And what I always loved about it is it was impossible to anticipate where it was going to go.
Yeah, that's because I was having trouble myself, I suppose, in terms of anticipating. As for actually uh, making up the story, creating the story, that I recall being fairly easy because it was just sort of clearing your mind and letting images and ideas flow and going, is this right? Seems right. Let's stick it in and see if it works. That sort of thing. Um, it was hard to say that something fit Preacher exactly in terms of subject matter. It was more a case of the tone.
Yeah,
So which is why Preacher's hard to sum up in terms of genre because it's um, a Western horror, crime, religious, romance, Western again, war story or something, because it has so many different bits, and that's very much due to the nature of it. Well, the nature of its creative process, I
yeah.
suppose.
In a beautiful full circle way, mate. You won't remember this specificity, but it just came to me. What you have just said is was part of the first conversation that you and I ever had, which
Hmm.
I know was in an Irish bar somewhere close to Greenwich Village a
Yes.
quarter century ago. And we were there talking about the first thing we ever worked on together was the classic IPC World War II character, Battle of Britain,
Right.
which you did a great mini-series with Colin Wilson
Yeah.
for IPC and for Wildstorm at the time. And part of our conversation was I was asking you about Preacher, and we got into a very similar conversation about the unsum-upable nature of what it actually was. And this
Yeah.
is, of course, years before you had a TV deal in place or anything. But
Yeah.
I remember that super clearly. And of course, what has happened in the intervening 25 years is the rights for those various characters we were talking about in that meeting have moved around. And I was responsible for about 50% of them for quite a long time when I worked at IPC. But now,
Mhm.
quite gloriously, they're all in one place and they're all the rights are all owned by our pals at Rebellion.
Yes.
And one of your big projects over the last 2 or 3 years, which I have loved seeing come together for all the reasons I've just
Hmm.
said, has been your work with the World War II characters and battle action. And you've just finished a glorious 10-part series, kind of replicating battle action.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was our third series,
Yeah,
technically. 10 issues. It had the Johnny Red story running through every issue by myself and Keith. And then the rest were one shots by some of the previous creative teams and by some new people. We mentioned Rob. I was delighted to get Brian Vaughan in there,
brilliant.
of course. You also had Dan Abnett was back. Torrin Grunbeck came back to write her beloved Nina Petrova
Yeah,
again.
the great Torrin Grombeck.
Yes.
Oh,
Uh,
who did a beautiful cover on? Was it issue 8 or was it
It was
earlier than
issue
that?
eight. It was for the
Yeah,
Nina story, and yes,
lovely.
that's one of the most incredible covers I've ever seen on a
Yeah.
comic I've had a story in. So, bravo, Torrin. So yeah, it worked out really well. I know the collected edition of that series, the first collected edition, is out in, I believe, September.
Correct, correct.
Right. That will collect the 9 single episode stories. So you'll have Dredger and HMS Nightshade and Hookjaw by our pal Steve
Yeah,
White. You'll have Nina. You'll have Rob's El Mestizo and Major Easy. You'll have the Death Game story. You'll have Brian's Kids Rule OK. And that will, as I say, be the first collection. And the second one, pretty much its own thing, will be a complete collection of the Johnny Red story that ran in that series of Battle Action by myself and Keith.
yeah,
That's titled A Couple of Heroes, and that will be out in January.
brilliant.
So once those two are out, I suppose we can start thinking about new things for Battle Action.
And can you touch upon any of that at all? What the new things might be?
Well, I can tell you that in February there will be a one-shot action special to celebrate Action's half century.
Yeah, 50 years of action. Amazing.
Yeah. I can't really tell you much more than I did on the panel at the Enniskillen Con, which of course you can find on
Yeah.
FPTV. Um, but I can tell you that I'm writing a couple of strips for it. Steve White's back.
Which,
That
if
there
you
are
know Steve White, that'll tell you what the strip is.
Right. There's a fourth by Rob Williams. At this point, you should be able to guess what at least three of them are. The fourth that Rob's doing might surprise people, actually. It's a bit of an odd one, but it's a nice idea, and I think a fitting follow-up to the character's original appearance in action. Now, in terms of battle action, the ongoing project, shall we call it? This action special is, I suppose, a sort of a stopgap.
Yep.
But the signs are good. The sales of the collected editions are going well. If that continues, we can hopefully be looking at more battle action towards the end of next year, beginning of the following.
Amazing, mate. Yeah.
So things are looking good. In these troubled times of tariffs and collapsing distributors and so on, a degree of caution is required, but things are looking as good as they can.
Yeah, and that's something I totally feel in terms of my day job. I know exactly where those conversations go, and it's heavy stuff. But I think what you're saying, it's very exciting. The Battle Action Volume 3 collection can be ordered from the links attached to our conversation. And why don't you come back when the time rolls around for the Johnny Red collection, which I can't wait for, and we'll have
Hmm.
another chat all about that.
You bet. More
Because
than
that's
happy
that's a
to.
great collaboration between you and our mutual pal Keith Burns, who
Yeah.
really pulls out all the stops, I think.
Oh, absolutely. The great thing about it too is that although it'll be the second and last collection of the Johnny Red stories by myself and Keith, next year, you'll start to see Rebellion's reprint program go to
Brilliant.
work on the original Johnny Red
Yeah,
strip
great.
by Tom Tully and Joe Colquhoun and then John Cooper. There's 10 years of material there. Johnny Red having been the longest strip in battle. So that's going to be a big project. But I, for one, am delighted to see that they're getting around to it.
Oh, I'm super over the moon about it because you may recall, mate, and in fact I know that you know because you wrote the introductions that at Titan Comics we did four collections of that
Yeah,
material. I think we probably did about the first 2 or 3 years. We certainly got to the Cooper flying gun stuff, but that I
that's
think was
right.
four hardback volumes. So what I
That
really want is for those guys to do what we did, surpass it, and get all of it in print again.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. It just shows you the sheer volume that the four Titan hardcovers managed about, I'm going to say just under 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So did just stop just short of the 80s.
yeah. So that would be great. And I would say special mention time, your editor on this project is one of the most talented comic book editors in the UK. Is our pal Oliver Pickles at Rebellion.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Another godsend. Yeah, it shot straight into my top 10 editors list
Yeah,
easily. Just the kind of guy you want to be working with. Uh, enough smarts to anticipate and deal with all kinds of problems. Sort of person you know that you're in good hands with,
yeah.
that you can really leave him to get on with it, and the results will be excellent. Yeah, I almost go so far as to say we couldn't have done it without him or without someone like that in that place.
No, I think that's very wise. He's a great bloke and a true professional.
Hmm.
And to round out this celebration of all things battle action, as I said, we'll talk about the Johnny Red collection when it's on the decks.
Hmm.
But in terms of we're not quite doing this in time for Battle Action Collection Volume 3, but for certainly the 10 issues of Battle Action that have been published over the last year, you've got a signing coming up, haven't you, mate?
That's right. Next month, August the 23rd, Saturday at Forbidden Planet Camden,
Right on.
Inverness Street, and that's going to be with Keith Burns and Rob Williams.
No finer creators or nicer people on those two. Highly accommodating. The Forbidden Planet Camden store is a lovely place to buy your comics. Got phenomenal, highly comics literate staff in there. In fact, if anybody watches the weekly new comic book roundup we do on Forbidden Planet TV, that is Jolly Jack D from Forbidden Planet Camden. He records it there every Wednesday morning, and he's a good lad. So is Vic, so is Ash. They've got a great crew there, and it is 2 minutes walk from Camden Town tube station. So that'll be at 2 p.m. on Saturday, the 23rd of August, with Garth, with Rob Williams, and with Keith Burns.
We'll be there. See ya.
Yeah, and with me standing around in the background, grinning like an idiot because it's World War II comics. Looking forward to it, mate. And
All right.
as ever, great to chat to you, brother.
You too, pal, and I will see you soon.
Sooner rather than later. Take care, mate. All the best.
Cheers.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.